That shooting in Uvalde, Texas, it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I came off the high of the show and then had something else to do and then went to pick up my son from daycare. And my husband decided to
Mm.
just text me the news. And I mean, I had to pull over. Like it
Yeah.
was to my
Devastating.
knees,
Yeah.
devastating. And I think
Yeah.
my biggest fear now is that people are going to go back to business as usual. Um, I don't know what the alternative. I don't want to go back to business as usual, and I've like I did something the next day because I just woke up and I was just like it was so heavy, and I
Yeah.
just put up my vacation responder saying that I was going to be taking some time off to mourn the losses of life. It was just after Buffalo,
I
like
know.
a
And
week
these
and a half after
babies,
Buffalo.
I just,
19 babies.
and their teacher.
And they're two teachers.
Yes. When I saw that, because I used to be a teacher, I don't even know the level of terror those kids must have gone through and their teachers. I mean, I can't imagine because when you're teaching, literally, especially little ones, this weird thing comes over you where you're like, well, this is my child now. Like as soon as I entered into the classroom, when you drop your baby off, that's my baby too. Because sis, we could fight. Like, like I love your child like just as much as you do when they're here with me. So I can't imagine how they must have felt, the teachers that were in there, how terrified they were for themselves, but especially because that's what happens. Like it could be me going to the park with the kids and just like a strange person standing around. I mean, the mama bear that used to come out of me, I'm like, why are you at this park? Well, I just know I need you to walk away. I can't come to the park, not while the kids are here, because you have just this weird look. And if it takes us to fight, sir, I'll send the kids back and we could tussle. Like literally, that's how I was. Like, but honestly, I found that most teachers of little ones were like that too. So I can't even imagine. I saw one father. I don't even know why I watched it because I was hysterical after of how he was just like, I just want my baby back. Like what? I just want my baby back.
What do you want me
I
to
don't even.
say? There's
Yeah,
nothing to be said. I want my,
yeah.
and she shouldn't. I think I know what interview you're talking about too.
Mm-hmm. It was heartbreaking.
As much as, we talk about this too. Maybe you have something to say. I struggle with the whole, I know self-care is important and I know
Mm-hmm.
that we have to kind of protect ourselves from the news, but I didn't want to protect myself. I wanted to read the names. I wanted to read the minute by minute account of the shooting. I wanted to understand how it happened, as painful as it was, and continues to be. I don't know that I'm not ready to stop. I just don't want to not care. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
not talk about it. It's heavy and
Yeah.
devastating and terrifying. I what Who else is going to save the babies? Like the people that we've elected into power,
I
they're
mean,
not doing they ain't doing a damn thing. And I'm like, as a mom, you don't have to be a mom, forget that. A human being,
yeah.
you know, what I'm just like, what can we do to save the children, the
Yeah.
babies who are
Just
having to
people
learn?
in general, because I saw someone said, which is so true. It's like nothing says that we need to ban these like automatic assault rifles than police being afraid to go in because they have an automatic assault rifle. I mean,
Yeah.
what does it take? One thing I will say that gave me a little, like that shaved a little bit off of my feeling disheartened is to see all those people protesting in Texas.
Mm.
And I think I'm
At the
hoping that,
NRA rally.
yes, that we've turned a
Yeah.
corner, that people are like, oh, okay, governor, this, I'm hoping that when election time comes, I'm
Mm.
hoping that, that people are just like, enough already. Because what does it take? Because at some point, everyone's going to know somebody who has who has been a victim of school shooting or something tragic like that. Whether it's school, like in Buffalo, the supermarket, a church, at some point, everyone's going to say, my mom, my sister, my
Mm.
cousin, my son, like, what's happening here? I was reading the statistic that I guess at one point when President Clinton was president, he had banned the automatic assault rifles, and gun violence went down like 43%.
Mm.
And then it was lifted and gun violence increased by like 200, I think,
It
and 43%.
expired, right? Like, I'm like, why would that
Something.
expire? Like, we're going to get over our issues?
Yes. And there was a direct correlation. Like it's up like over
Yeah,
200% as a result. So it's like bans do work. Like this whole, people are like,
they really
bans don't
do.
work. It's like, let's look at the countries where they've enacted those and see how they have almost eliminated gun violence. So it's like, you have to ask
Yeah.
yourself, follow the money, really, really. Why won't politicians do anything? Because they're on the payroll of those who it benefits them to be able to sell these type of assault rifles. Did you see the was it Good Morning America? That young boy, he maybe was like 13 years old. They sent him into a 7-Eleven to buy alcohol.
Yes.
They were like,
Ugh,
baby, you can't buy alcohol. They sent him to
yeah.
someplace else to buy cigarettes. Baby, you can't buy cigarettes. All these other places. Then they sent him to like a gun show to buy a gun. And he walked out with a gun. No,
Hmm.
no cold medicine he can't buy, alcohol, cigarettes he can't buy. But a 13-year-old can buy a gun.
Can't vote.
Still. Yep.
But here's
Still.
an assault rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for mentioning the protests. It's the only way. I
Yeah.
want to get up right now and protest. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've done a good job compartmentalizing, I think, and this past weekend just I'm becoming obsessed with seeing my son smile. Just obsessed. I would do anything to make him smile. And you know what? I broke my body for that child this weekend. Like I've not slept as hard as I slept. I went to bed at 8:15 last night and I slept until 7:56 this morning. Like that is how hard I went. And I think I was just pouring all the energy into just like, what can I do? But there's more than that. You know, you mentioned the protesting and about the power of these elected officials and who do we want in power? And the fact of the
Yeah.
matter is that like, do not get it twisted. There's actually legislation already that's been passed in the House and has been stymied in the Senate because they need more. They need at least 60 votes to pass the filibuster, which is what, you know, Republicans and the Democrats have used it too. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't get more than 60 votes, then you can welcome this filibuster, which means no one ever stops talking and nothing ever gets
Yeah.
passed, right? They need 60 votes. They don't got them. They don't have them
Yeah.
because they don't have it. And even some, there's probably a couple Democrats who are not, you know, voting
Mm-hmm.
for this, but these are people we've elected into power.
Mm-hmm.
The midterms are coming up. How are we going to change this? Like, I feel so useless being here in a progressive state. I'm just like, should I move back to
Yeah.
Georgia? What should I do? But if you're in a state where you have senators who are
Mm-hmm.
opposed, and hell, we'll put the link in the show notes so you can see exactly who's opposed this
Yes.
law. I want you to call them. And it has to be you. You know, I actually listened to, was I listening to? It was like a podcast, and it was someone who works on Capitol Hill, and she was going into detail about the most impactful way to get elected officials' attention. And she's like, if you're not in their constituency, like you live where they represent, your
Mm-hmm.
calls are not going to matter as much. So I can't call.
Yes.
Tiffany can't call.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in Texas or Georgia or Kansas or wherever these places
Mm-hmm.
are, you have to call.
Yes.
We have to work. We have to save the babies. Like we have to. And yeah, I'm going to say babies because everyone's all about pro-life and banning abortion and all that bull.
Mm-hmm.
We don't give a shit about children in this country.
Yeah,
Like
we
that's
don't.
the way I feel.
It's
We
just
don't
control.
care about children.
Yeah.
We don't give it. How do we not care about children
You're
who are
worried
going to grow
about
up to be taxpayers and business owners? And like, how do we not see what happens to a child and who they,
literally
and
they've passed
how do
laws
we
that
not see that?
at conception you can't. I'm like, that's not
We
literally
can't
like.
feed them. We can't
And so,
fucking
but
feed them.
yes, and so, but
And
now that when
what?
kids become actual kids, then it's like, hands off. It's just, that's the only way people are gonna learn, and it actually does work. If you think to yourself, oh, that doesn't work, that's not true. Like my Assemblywoman Angela V. McKnight and I got together, and then it took 2 or 3 years, but we got the law passed in the state of New Jersey, making financial education mandatory for middle school students. Then I called Angela and I was like, yo, these people came to my house and under and praised the house. And it's been like 2 years now. And I unfortunately I can't be there because I have a speaking engagement. But on Thursday, they asked me to come testify before the Senate of New Jersey to testify to say this is what happened to me. So now there's a law, or not a law, but certainly I don't know if it's a bill yet, but it is I think it's called a bill, whatever a pre-law is, to say, hey, here's how one that's wrong. for appraisals to be based upon race and gender and other information that has nothing to do with the value of your home. And here's what's going to happen for appraisers who do that. So that's happening. It takes some time, but to stand up and say, no, I'm going to reach out to my council person, my assembly person, my whatever. I mean, that's actually
Locally,
happening.
local.
Yes,
Thank
locally.
you.
Yep.
Locally.
And I remember distinctly, to your point, Mandy, she was like, can you come and speak? Because hearing from a constituent is powerful. And if not, write a letter. And I remember when we were getting the financial education law passed, she was like, can you send an email to all of your New Jersey folks in this area to say, make a phone call? I literally gave them a link. I said, here's a link, click this, copy and paste this message if you don't know what to write. And so that's what we did to let lawmakers know, like, hey, there are people who could vote you in or out who care about this law, make it happen. So I just say all that to say that I know sometimes it's hard because it's just like, just vote. That doesn't seem like enough. But I will say that being active in that way, it does make change happen.